That runaway was the public notice that exploded in the face of Van Wickle and his accomplices. The program today explores two aspects about the Van Wickle slave ring, which operated in the East Brunswick area back in 1818, 200 years ago. Judge Van Wickle was a large property owner, he was a businessman, he was an elected official, and he utilized the power of his office as a judge to circumvent the law that had been intended to protect the rights of African Americans living in New Jersey at the time. And he used his power to issue bogus certificates of removal, whereby the free people and those people still in bondage were forced into permanent slavery in the deep south of Louisiana. Instead of a manumission certificate, these are certificates of removal. So it would say, on this day came before me so-and-so, the owners of the slaves, and they say that the slaves have agreed to go to Point Cuppy on the Mississippi River to serve Nicholas Van Wickle and Charles Morgan for a term of years or just as slaves. The second aspect of the program is finding their descendants today, and we've been very fortunate in that we have been able to locate some family members of that original group of people.
I want to say how happy I am to be here this afternoon to talk about this subject, because slavery is a very ugly part of American history. But it is American history, and the story must be told. Just because it wasn't written doesn't mean it hadn't happened. This is a chance for the story to get told, for you to tell your friends, and to make sure things like this never happen again. It never must happen again.
This is a day of remembrance to the people and the families of our county and state whose lives were torn asunder by greed and indifference. This is a day of memorial to their lives, to give names and voice to those who left no written record. History is built upon the written word. The Old Testament remains as strong today as it did when it was written in Babylonia thousands of years ago. Hammurabi's code in Akkadian cuneiform, the Egyptian and Mayan hieroglyphs still remain today, so we know of those people. But for millions of Americans, which a nation just 250 years old, there is no written record. No stories of individual or family history, no story of each person's own individual humanity. Even records like birth, marriage, death were not recorded. That might otherwise provide a chain of documents from ancestors to descendants. The deliberate omission of such records in this modern era is in and of itself shocking. We are here today to begin to give names and voices to the scores of victims of Judge Jacob Van Wickle's nefarious acts. His facade of judicial process condemned more than 100 human beings to a life of cruel and permanent slavery on the sugar and cotton plantations of the Deep South. We have a term for his actions: human trafficking. And it was decried of people by goodwill then as it is today. That will also be a part of today's presentation. As we move forward with this project, we will fill in the blank pages of history, and we will link the lives of our ancestors of 200 years ago to their descendants of today and tomorrow. Generations will once again be bonded by ties of family. That is as it should be and as it will be. We all know the story of 12 Years a Slave. We know Armistead, the movie about the boat of African who overpowered their ship's captain and ultimately won their freedom. American history is deeply detailed, very rich in context, and East Brunswick had a role in that, and we plan on expanding the story of Jacob Van Wickle, finding his descendants, and bringing the story to a much wider public audience. This is a quote from one of the pages. Basically it says, on February 10th, James Brown in Middlesex County brought before us Jacob Van Wickle, John Alcott, 2 judges, his female servant named Harriet, age 3, 4 months and 28 days, child of Lydia. On the 26th of February, Nicholas Van Wickle brought before us his female child named Susan, age 7 months, child of Flora. Mary, age 2, Augustus, a male child, etc., etc. And these are all the children listed, all of which children named as far as they could answer, being with their respective mothers by privately examined, separated and apart from the masses, declared their willingness to go south. Okay, something's wrong with that picture. We look at the movie Sophie's Choice and think, oh my God, that's horrible. This was done not to a fictional character in a movie, but to all of these women whose lives, they dedicated them to their children.